used on the battlefield in Europe was when the English brought them to bear on French forces at the Battle of Crécy in 1346. The thunderous explosion, the sulphurous smell, the spitting flame struck terror into the enemy. A chronicler of the time wrote, "They made a noise like thunder and caused much loss in men and horses." Every historical period comes up with ideas that last and ideas that fade. From the start, the gun was destined for success. Within 50 years of the first primitive guns, medieval armorers were building weapons that look very like the cannon we know today. One of the first things was they got rid of the arrow and went to the cannonball. First cannonballs were stone like this. They were chipped away by masons because we hadn't discovered cast iron. Europeans didn't discover cast iron until late in the 15th century. The other thing that happened was they went to longer barrels. But how did they make a long iron barrel like that without being able to make cast iron? The answer was using the technology of a barrel. You see these staves in a barrel, these wooden strips that are bound together by these hoops. That's what's going on here. Underneath these rings are staves of iron butted together like that. They're formed around a wooden core. And then these rings with their long flanges are hammered over. Wooden cores burned out, and you've got the barrel of a gun. It's called a barrel because it's the same technology as a barrel. That thing that looks like a beer tankard is called a breech pot. What happens is the cannonball goes in here, the powder goes in the breech pot. He will then put the air seal of that by putting in a wooden tampion. That's going to push the ball up the barrel. Fire in the hole. That's done. Knock out the breech. That's now ready to shoot again. While Lienz is loading, my job is to swab this. A wet swab. There may be sparks in here, and I don't want to put live powder in there until those sparks are killed. That one's ready for loading. Fire in the hole. And so there they go, bang, after bang, after bang. The age of artillery had arrived. The arrival of the gun was one of the signals that the medieval period was passing. It changed the course of warfare and civilization for all time. Going medieval has been an incredible journey. I've helped build and attack medieval castles. I've ploughed with oxen and tasted medieval food. I've hunted with hounds and fought with swords. I've traveled on ships and horses, and I've seen a great, gaudy slice of medieval life. Medieval folk didn't think of themselves as ye olde or primitive or people that dressed up in funny clothes. They considered themselves modern. They used the latest technologies and they wore the finest fashions. People in the Middle Ages were much more like us than they were different from us. In fact, the truth is, they were us. And for me, the real thrill and enchantment of history is in connecting with the physical experience of the world they lived in. And going medieval has helped me enter that world and share a little of their lives.
We're not at the top of the food chain here. We're living in the animal's environment.
There's a lot of ways to die out here.